Hi, my name is Ashley Murillo. This is my interpersonal communication project for Liberty University, class HSCO 508. On the first slide is my introduction slide. It's going to give the bullet points of what each slide will be going over. Next slide. I am 26 years old. I am married. I have a 5-year-old daughter. I have taken online classes for my entire college experience, and currently I am in my master's program for military resilience. Next slide. What is interpersonal communication? Communication is the continuous, complex, collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making, according to Stewart. Communication is not just a language, but rather symbols, signs, and behavior like other people's words, actions, and attitudes. As humans, we are always trying to figure out, make sense of, or interpret what others are saying and what is happening around us. People involved are contacting each other as persons impersonally, like on a daily basis when you're at the grocery store with the cashier, or personally with friends and family. Next slide. My overarching goals is to be able to express my feelings openly, have a better understanding of others, and encourage their thoughts and feelings. I do not want to be quick to judge, rather fully listen to their concerns and be able to help them. I also want to be able to express the love of God and help others understanding what God's love is really about. Next slide. When we talk about enlarging the conversation, you want to be a good listener. You want to also maintain an open line of communication, allow participants to be seen and heard, and then we can use techniques to maximize the conversation. Next slide. According to the Uniquely You assessment, my personality type is CS, and how people see me is they think that I'm balanced between people and task skills, overly passive instead of active and extroverted, laid back and calm, not threatening, easygoing, a rule enforcer, not assertive or bossy, and I do not like to be the center of attention, but do well in small groups. Next slide. How I really am is I'm more reserved than outgoing. I do not express feelings openly. I'm people-oriented, but I'd rather one-on-one contact than in a large group setting. I'm task-oriented, but prefer to do the research on my own. I'm not aggressive or assertive, and I'm a great friend and listener. Next slide. There are two types of communication. Inhaling is when we perceive and are listening to others. Totalizing the communication, being mindful, empathetic, and dialogic, which is nexting or encouraging others to speak. Exhaling is expressing and disclosing, being open, speaking with clarity and power, and helping them understand who you really are. Next slide. When you're listening to somebody else speak, you want to be mindful and you want to have a desire to learn, to listen, and to concentrate on what is being said. Receive the spoken words accurately, retain the information for future use, sustain attention while they're speaking, be sensitive to what they're saying, and encourage the speaker with their own thoughts and words. Next slide. Some communication barriers that I have would be not fully understanding what is being said, which is a semantic barrier, and judging based on what we understand and perceive. There are some physical barriers as well, like fatigue, being tired, stressed out, daydreaming when somebody else is talking and not fully listening to what they are saying, and the time lag factor. Next slide. Internal noise pollution are barriers that could be worked on and controlled within ourselves. These are not barriers that others can hear rather than we could hear within ourselves. So it's hearing what you want to hear when somebody else is speaking. Having biased listening, green flag words, your emotions controlling the situation, and physical barriers like fatigue. Next slide. External noise pollution are barriers that are harder to control and to work on. These would be outside noises, like loud noises, the weather, tapping of a pencil or a foot, being seated with people you do not know, the speaker talking maybe too quiet or too loud, the speaker's mannerisms, interruptions maybe by a cell phone ringing, a baby crying, and pressures of the time and also your own work pressures. So maybe you don't have enough time to be sitting there and listening to them, and you're more focused on getting to your next task. Next slide. My action plan is to become a level 1 listener at all times. Not to let what others say bother me. React to others' words with understanding. Do not judge on how they feel. And do not to be a selective listener. Rather listen to them for what they're saying to you and be able to communicate openly with them. Next slide is my bibliography slide, and these are the references that I use throughout my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day.